Alright, well, after suffering in my pickup without an iPod for about 4 months, I finally broke down and got a new radio. I have an adapter that goes into my factory stereo on my pickup that allows me to listen to my iPhone. Well, once the iPhone 4 software came out, it no longer worked anymore, and it gave me all kinds of issues and problems and errors, and it was locking up my phone, so I just stopped using it. Well, after listening to the radio, I'm tired of it. I want my iPhone back in my truck so I can listen to it. So I broke down a couple weeks ago and bought a radio to replace in the truck, but I had a problem with the speaker and it was under warranty, so I had to take it back in and get it fixed before I could put the aftermarket in. So I got the radio now. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Back in the previous life, many years ago, I used to do real high-end custom audio installs in cars way back in the 80s. Back when you had to actually make everything, kits and harnesses. We didn't have all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you a basic head unit install. This is in a 2006 Silverado. It's pretty simple. I'll show you how easy it is. The hard part is with any car is figuring out how the dash comes apart without breaking it. So come along with me and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so what I bought was a little Pioneer DEH P5200. It has HD radio and the iPod adapter. The next step up gave you a couple more features which I really didn't care about. I just wanted something that was just kind of a real basic deal. It's got a CD player that'll play AAC and all that kind of good stuff too, the codec, but I really honestly don't care. So anyway, I got it out and I went ahead and soldered the kit or the wiring harness on here. Now what you want to do is you want to heat shrink, solder and heat shrink these, but I was out of heat shrink, so I mean I've used black tape for years, but make sure you solder them so that way they have a good connection. This is for the GM trucks. The way the GM trucks work is whenever you open the door, the chime actually comes out of the left door speaker. That's what was wrong with my truck, is that left speaker went out and it seems like it has to be a common problem. So I figured I'd let the factory fix it once. But anyway, this enables you to have the door chime and all the warning stuff like that coming out of that speaker that interfaces with your aftermarket radio. So what you do is, these are the wires that are coming out of the radio, and these are wires coming from the harness. Now the nice thing is that the harness wires and the radio wires match up color for color. I mean, you just match them up, solder them. It can't be any simpler than that. Back in the old days, we had to actually get wiring diagrams for each car, so that way we know exactly which one, the left speaker, right speaker, power, etc., etc. So it took a lot of thinking to be able to do it. So anyway, this is done. So now we need to go over to the truck and take the dash apart and figure out what we got going on there. Okay, this truck's relatively easy. Like I said, this is a 2006 Silverado. And they have basically a bezel that runs all the way around the steering wheel, around each one of the heater controls, etc., etc. So all you really need to do on a Silverado like this is just basically pull it straight out. It's that simple. Now, you're going to notice that it's hitting the shifter. You can't get it out because it actually has behind here a little recessed area that goes down inside there around the speedometer, so you can't pull it. So what you have to do is you must put the key in the ignition, turn it on, and of course make sure that your radio's off, and make sure you have your parking brake on. Put that sucker all the way down in low, so that way your shifter is down way out of the way. So now, it's that simple. Pops right out. So, put that aside. Now we have probably the simplest radio install on the face of the earth here. You have two little bolts on this side, one little bolt on this side. So we got to get our socket. I forget what that is. I think that's maybe 5/16, but I'm going to go get the socket and we'll pull the radio out. Alright, so I was way wrong. It is a 7mm. Apparently these American cars mix metric and standard all the time. Anyway, so basically what you do is you just take out each one of these little screws. I'm going to attach this to my socket. And then basically just unscrew them one at a time. Oh, look at that one was already loose. That's interesting. Fun times. I guess whenever they worked on the speaker last, they took this out and I didn't tighten it back up good enough. So, alrighty, so we are getting that screw out here. Put those down. I like put them in the cup holders so that way they don't like disappear. Nothing like trying to put your car back together and there's nothing. You can't get the you can't find all the screws. to switch hands there. Now these what these use to hold them in is the little clips. Basically, is what they do. This is a composite material, and this has a little clip that goes over here. All we do now, we just yank the radio out. And you'll see how it's hooked up back here. You've got basically the power of the harness coming from the car and the antenna, and that's it. All you do is you just unplug everything, and Mr. Radio will pop right out. I'm going to put this down. There we go. So now you have the harness and the antenna ready to go. Now in the GM truck cars, these antennas are always real small. They're called a GM Mini. So I have in the garage, I have an adapter that allows you to be able to adapt it to this larger size. Now we need to go in here and assemble our kit that allows us to hold the smaller radio in this opening. Okay, so we've got our kit here. There's the instructions. This one's made by Metra. That's all I've ever used for a very long time. What it is basically is it's a kit. If you look at the front of the radio here, you see, let's get the actual radio. You see how small that is compared to the GM radio? So you have to have a kit to be able to take up that room. So now this kit slides in the dashboard and adapts for it. Now you see there's a little bracing right here. You got to cut that out. So anyway, what we're going to do is we want to make sure that everything lines up. You see how the holes in the back do line up? Very nice. And then the little pocket is going to double as an iPod holder. That's going to be pretty slick. So that way it doesn't leave it hanging or anything like that. So anyway, what we want to do is on this radio there's a little sleeve. And you have to use, and this is with Pioneer, not all are the same way, but most of them have something like this. They're like little keys that you take the faceplate off, and these keys slide in there and they release this little sleeve. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so I got the little faceplate off. Basically what you do to get the faceplate off, you just stick a flathead or something down in there and just kind of pry out gently, and that releases it. And what you do is you slide the key down inside here, and that releases that little, there we go. It releases the cage is what that's called. So you take the other key and you slide it in the side over here too. So it's out, and then basically this just slides straight down. And take the keys out so they don't fall out and ruin anything. Okay. So now we have our cage, and what you're going to do is you're going to take this and cut those pieces out. Go get a... I just use a little bit of snips, so we just go in there and snip them out, and then I'm gonna file it if there's any nubs that are down there, and we'll slide the cage in. Okay, so now I've got that, and here's the cage, and it basically just slides into place inside the kit. And what you do is you make it nice and seated, and you see all these little things in here. Those are designed to be bent down, and they hold onto the cage. So what you do is you basically take a screwdriver, or I think I've still got my old hook tool. Here it is. See this nifty little tool? Snap-on, like 50 bucks back in the day. Basically what you do is you stick those in here and you bend each one of those tabs down. Bend down as many as you can so that way it holds this radio in spot perfectly. So you need 2 hands for this, so I'm going to go ahead and bend them down.